Hey everyone, it's 6 in the morning. For some reason, I just really feel like drawing. My kid woke me up, and so now I'm ready to draw some stuff. And this video is going to be a lot different than my other ones because, you know, normally I teach how to draw characters. I offer a bunch of tips and things like that. With this one, I want to teach you how to draw like just human figures, how to draw dynamically. And the whole reason why I'm doing this lesson is I watched The Amazing Spider-Man. I watched it for the second time and it was so good. I loved it, man. I really enjoyed it. And so I wanted to do a tutorial on how to draw Spider-Man because he's been very popular. But basically that idea led into this video. Because, you know, with Spider-Man, he's in so many different, unique, cool poses. And so I kind of want to do this, a very brief lesson, yet should be very helpful for you to draw more dynamic poses, or for you to have more motion in your figures, things like that. Just, you know, to really express that, because I have so much on my mind right now, so I'm trying to remember everything. But something you may notice, and this is true, and you know, this is me as an artist, I always critique my stuff, but pretty much every video I do so far with the characters, you know, the drawings are pretty stiff. They're basic, you know, they're basically a stand-in pose with maybe a hand or arm up. So with this video, I just want to branch out, and I'm not going to lie, I had so much enjoyment just for once. I haven't done this in so long, just sketching. I did this from my mind, but I watched the video from his channel's iDrawGirls.com and a Spider-Man, a real cool Spider-Man pose, and I did the sketch and I was very pleased. But what I was getting at is I haven't just drawn like this in a while, where it's very loose, just capture motion and poses, so it was really relaxing. I did it 5:30 this morning and just got into it, and so very helpful. I hope this helps. We'll get started with it. And yeah, it all started with the whole Spider-Man thing. But poses, you know, you have so many different poses. And if you haven't yet, check out the channel, 2 channels. Sycra, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but SYCRA, and it should pop up if you search any drawing videos. That one, and also I Draw Girls, very inspirational. So what you can see is I'm just going to show you these drawings I did real quick. You know, here's a sketch. This was a baseball player from the video, but you can see just a real quick sketch, real quick anime-like face. And all I'm doing is capturing motion here. I'm making dynamic. Here's just a simple pose with the legs, stick figure. And this was another one I Draw Girls pose did. And all I did was, for the first time, I just had fun, just drew. You know, I got the basic female kind of body. Just a sketch. It's very loose. The torso is way too long, but I didn't mind at the time because I was just going for capturing basic forms. Same with this. I wanted to show like this overlap in this foreshorten, and then I didn't draw the whole arm in, just enough, and then the face, and then of course the Spider-Man pose. So let's get started with just sketching some things. I'm actually using inkjet paper, regular photocopy paper. Someone recommended it, one of the viewers, so I'm trying that out, and it works really good. It's smooth. Well, here's something amazing. This is what amazes me about drawing, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, because it's very important, you know, to hear this, because it can help you. Sometimes it just clicks. Like this morning, it just clicked, and I started just enjoying drawing. It was going good. But something to mention is you're constantly learning. When it comes to drawing, you are constantly learning. It is a battle of persistence. But that's why I love drawing so much. Because, like, I started doing some sketches, and they were coming out horrible. And sometimes, like, you'll learn how to draw a head, and then a week later, you relearn how to do it, and it comes out better. And then another week later, it'll come out better, and then say down the road or 2 months later, you realize your drawing wasn't that good as what you even thought. So it's kind of a constant struggle to just review things, rethink things, and it's just a process of the mind. And That's what amazes me about drawing. You're just constantly rewiring your mind to see things different, to get better at it, and just really amazing, because I just can't stress that enough. So just some verbal information that could help you. But when it comes to the poses, like, you know, usually when I'm drawing the body, some people start with the circle and usually have an action line, like a line of action. For me personally, I tried that, and I did not like the way the drawings came out. Like, you know, here's like the rib cage. I'm sketching very light, but rib cage, torso region, and then the bottom. Well, you can see all I'm doing is this basic form, and right now it's okay, you know. And then I put the legs in and the arms. But for me, I didn't like that. I tried it the other night and it came out very stiff. I think so. Once again, try your own things, but this is one way. You know, for me personally, I wouldn't even start with the head. Personally, I start with the body. I'm just going to do a stiff, normal pose. And the human body, without the limbs and things, kind of has, someone's mentioned, a kidney shape, where it gets wider on the top like that, and then the bottom. But, you know, that's like the basic form. So say if it's bending forwards to you, you have the back, and say if it's just coming over, you're going to have an overlap. It'll kind of look like that, where it's overlapping. And so that's the idea you got to keep in mind, is these forms. So you'd have like the head would be there, and then the two shoulders and the legs. I'm just doing real quick sketches now, and then so that's kind of the idea. If you keep with this basic form, then a side view of it will look like this. You have a side view, and everybody's proportions are different. But if that was a side view, you know, laying down, the head may be up here, then the legs, and the arm would be resting. I'm just doing very gestural drawings right now. It's like you start with the body and then the head. Then you connect the neck. You can have this arm raised. Oh yeah, that's what I want to mention. And another thing, when you do these drawings, when you're more concerned about structure, and you're more concerned about just making it free-flowing poses, don't worry about hands, don't worry about feet, don't worry about little details, because, you know, I'll make the lines. This is how you get better at drawing the body, is you just put in the lines and then you go back, and then like right now there's no nose, but then later on down the road you learn to kind of form a nose, and so you put it on that place, like that would be a nose if this was bigger, of course. But when you're doing this, don't worry about the hands. My advice is when you're drawing the hands, make just a little shape that kind of looks like that, almost this shape, and then you could draw the fingers, like right now, two fingers, kind of like that, basic kind of hand shape, you know. But don't worry about it. So let's get started into more different poses and things. And I'm going to make a video. My next video I will show you an amazing website. I actually found it from the other artist on here, posted it. Really cool. It's got a ton of poses, so I'll show you that. Yeah, but basically I'll get more into drawing now. I'm sorry if I spent too much time talking, but it's just really, it helps me to understand this, to learn it. Well, with the poses, keep it simple. A huge rule is keep it simple. You don't want too many lines. You don't want to get confused. But you can see, like, let's start with just, like, let's do the Spider-Man pose real quick, being that we'll draw in one of the upcoming videos. So just a real simple head shape. And so to keep in mind, we'll have his back above him. And see, I'm using just real simple shapes like that. So that's back, and then his shoulders. And being that his back, it's hard to comprehend, kind of, but that would mean his pelvis would be behind him, which would mean his legs would be behind him. So you won't even see that part of him. And this is kind of where you get into figure drawing. So when it comes to figure drawing, a good tip is, keep it simple. Keep it as simple, but you want to make it dynamic. So what I'm doing is I'm making the head look in this direction, and I just want to keep it very dynamic but simple, because you don't want to do that. So just make, say, one arm stretching back, foreshorten, and then I can make this arm. I won't make it too complicated, but make this one grabbing on to the web, and then maybe this one's shooting the web out, something like that. Just a real quick pose. But then you have his legs, and his legs are usually very big, and you can see I'm just making simple shapes. I'm trying not to make too complicated shapes. I'm just keeping it very simple, and then what you kind of have is this very simple form, yet it takes on this very simple form, yet it takes on this dynamic figure. It was fairly simple to draw. I'm not worried about the anatomy so much of the arms and this, but I'm just forming an image. And then we'll try another one. But I'm trying to think of another good tip. Really, it's just a matter of practicing and viewing different poses. I really, like I said, I'll put that website up. I really recommend it, because you can study different poses and things. Like, for example, a head looking forward is very stiff, but you can just make one looking up. Here's what I'm getting at, and that's what I meant to say, is by simply moving your lines around. Like what I'm doing is just a real simple head. The eyes would be upward, nose would be about that line. But you can see just by doing that, and then I make the neck real stretched. Take your time. That's another huge tip. I mention it all the time. Take your time. Don't rush it, because really, if you go fast, it won't come out good. And that's kind of what's messing me up right now. I'm kind of going fast. But you can see, just look how dynamic this creates it. All it is just simple forms, a simple shape. And you have a head that's looking up. And then if you want, go back, work it in, sketch the nose in, the mouth. And, then you have this really cool action pose. And then, you can make it someone like Cyclops from X-Men, just shooting lasers at things like that, and go in and really flesh it out. So the point is, you want it to be dynamic. I'll make another kind of pose that, say another one, like female pose. A female, let's see. And sometimes it takes a while, think about what you're going to draw before. But like a female, basic, let's see, like, we'll make it foreshortened. The back will be behind. So that's one I kind of did before. But like, so with that, you'd have the rib cage here. And I'm going to take this kind of slower. Rib cage. But that basic form is like this circle that overlaps. Going back to the kind of this form. And then females have a skinnier torso, but then here's the back foreshortened. And just make these lines that overlap. That's how you kind of show. And then the legs. And we'll make one leg like she's standing, and then another leg stretched out. I'm really sorry if I'm not offering good tips. It's kind of hard to describe, because I'm kind of familiar with the shapes. My best advice is, though, practice doing. Here's a good advice: don't worry about shapes in terms of lines and make it complex. In other words, if like what I did here with the head, I just drew a basic circle, and like with the Spider-Man, I just did an oval shape. Try and doing that rather than, a lot of people will teach which is no big deal because you can do it that way too. But you know, a lot of people may teach a circle, or they may teach for a rib cage to actually draw like the rib cage out like this and draw the side plane and all that. For me, that doesn't work. That messes me up. If I draw a side plane, it just doesn't look fluid. It doesn't look awesome. It just has a stiffness. But that's just me personally. But with the circle at the head, and then you can do is build onto it. And you know, that's one way you can learn too. As you can see, I got just a basic head shape. And then like at the rest of it, I make the body come down. So really it's a matter of finding yourself. Discover. I'm just erasing what was behind it. It's a matter, that's why, like I said at the beginning, you're always learning. It really is a matter of self-discovery too. You discover what clicks for you. Like right now I did a really awesome, I'm really happy with that. It's a very simple, almost anime type body. Very simple lines. It has a lot of expression to it. You know, you got this pose, the back coming in, then you know the arms would be here, which I'm not doing now. But you can see just from simple shapes. So it really is a matter of finding what works for you. What works for me when doing it, like I said before, is just drawing the outline, and just working all around. So going back to this, you can see the rib cage here, and then the female right around this area. You'd have the collarbone, I'd say, and then right here one arm. And of course you have the breast would be around this area, and so you just have the breast there, and they're kind of, the way they form, they're around the rib cage, so they're kind of shaped like that on it, because you see how it's bending down the rib cage, so you have that basic shape. And then like we'll make this arm coming down, and the female arms usually slender, more slender. They have, but you can see I'm just doing this basic thing. Then you can make this arm come out, and then this would be saying this is like the back. But you can see what happens here. None of my videos really show this kind of dynamic expression. And then you know put the head in right there. Please let me know if this helps. Because I'll make more just doing poses. If it helps you to see how I'm doing the poses, I'll definitely make more. Then you know, just the head, like looking straight forward. But it's nothing complicated. It's just a very simple pose. It's just enough for me to get a simple pose, like I said, a pose, and you can see though, it's very dynamic. You have like this foreshort in the back, and then the leg, this leg, which would be darker. But then if I wanted to, you know, I could go back, really work it in. And that's where the fun part starts. That's where the fun begins, is where you start doing shading, where you start really forming. Then you can draw superheroes, you can do anything you want. That's where the fun part begins. But as you can see, I made the face looking straight up if I want, you know. And this is why this lesson's important. I just want to show you how, you know, you can alter it. You can make it more dynamic. It's looking that way, but maybe I want to alter it a little to look a little bit towards that way. I can do that, like it's looking down. That's a horrible head. I'm sorry about that. The paper messes up after I erase it, but there's a, you know, simple pose, another pose we did. I'll do a few more. And oh yeah, that's what I have to mention too. I'm kind of jumping around because I keep thinking of things. But another thing is, I want to say this very straightforward, please, because I want to say I am not a professional. I went to art school. I went 4 years, got my BA. I've been practicing. I've been going to lessons. So I am not a professional at this. I just want to teach you, you know, to have fun drawing and to learn, but also to improve. So I kind of just want to give you my tips. So I just, you know, I do what I do, and I just enjoy it. Like, I had so much fun. But here's the poses again. Then we'll do a few more, and then I'll end the video. But one more big thing. Always remember, find the paper that you like. I know I say that a lot, but these are just very major tips. These tips that I'm offering really can, for some people, really just click for them, and then, you know, I keep reiterating, but then they'll start drawing better all of a sudden. Like I can't tell you, the other night I was drawing in my sketchbook. I haven't done that in a while. And a sketchbook has a lot of paper in it, so it's softer. Like this is, you know, a hard background, so I can draw better. But I was drawing, I was getting so frustrated because the lines were coming out, like the lines were coming out almost smudged. It really was annoying. So then I went back to this and I was like, wow, this feels perfect. So find what clicks for you, find a pencil. I'm using 0.7 mechanical. I'm just offering a lot of information. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. It's just really important. So let's get started with some more poses. Some other ones. Let's see here. So we'll start. Another great advice before you're doing poses too, just get a feeling of the paper. Like I said, you know, make a couple lines, make a couple of sketches. But we'll do a real simple one. We'll make one like it's lean. So if you want, some people do this, and this is another way you could do poses. You could start with the circle and then just make a line. We'll make this one arching, and then the body like we did. Then simple shape. So all I'm doing is a simple shape like that, and then we'll make one arm. On the hip here. We'll make this other arm up in the air. But you can see what I'm doing. I'm using lines. Now I'm not worried about the fingers right now. I'm using a very simple form, but you can see, look, that pose is so dynamic. It's like I said, it's not stiff, and I'm just drawing. Oh my gosh, I love doing like this. You know, there you go. You have a very simple pose, and you draw the neck. The rest of the head would be like that. Just finish up the head, the neck. You know, you can put clothes on, you can do whatever you want, but just another way how to draw it. Very dynamic, not stiff. And another thing that I don't think people really mention, you can see how this line is arching down while this is arching up. When you're dealing with the horizon line, this might be really analytical, but it can help too. Say the horizon line would be right there. Whatever. You get used to where lines arch. When you're looking below something, lines will generally arch up because you're looking below, whereas if it's below the horizon line, they'll arch down. So like with this figure here, you can see the different lines. Lines make a huge difference in figure drawing, because depending which way your line bends, makes a big difference. For example, you know, here where the shoulder meets the arm, if it was bending like that, it may not look the same. So it's just a matter of experimenting with lines too. Another real quick pose. We'll make one like above. I usually do like to start with the head, just depending, but you know, basic oval shape. And this one will be the back. We'll have the whole back. So I'm just doing real simple shape, and then the pelvis in the back. And what's cool is you can have one arm out. Once again, keep the shape simple. Don't over things. Don't worry about muscles right now. Simply worry about one thing, making dynamic poses. That way you're having fun. And then say one leg might be coming off the thing. See, I'm making that leg up in the air, and it would be coming off the page like that. And then with this other leg, you won't see it. It'll be behind, but with this leg, you can see I'm just bringing it in. It would end about right there if it was there, if you could see through. And then all I'm doing is that. And look at this pose I created. Very simple pose, yet it's got so much movement to it. Then with this arm, I'm just going to make it doing just the thing that's in front of them. So whenever you're overlapping, make sure lines overlap. That's how you can show a lot of perspective things. You can see here, real simple pose. And you have like almost someone figure skating or dodging something, but you can see just how dynamic that is. It's just amazing. Like, you can do the simplest little things in posing, they come out so dynamic. Another huge tip, I keep giving tips, don't worry if it's messy. Don't worry if you have lines. The art of drawing is incredible, because if you look at old, Renaissance drawings, any time of drawings, figure drawings, they have lines, they have things, they're messy, they don't look like pure crisp cartoons that a lot of people get in their mentality to draw. So that's a huge thing with figure drawing, and especially when you do it on a large scale, But another thing which is really cool, see, this one leg makes a whole different pose. If I was to take that leg out, completely remove it, you can see the difference it makes. It almost loses some of its feeling, it loses its balance. So that's another thing. I'll do one more pose. Let's see, I'll do like another Spider-Man pose or something similar to that. I'll do one from behind, actually. So from behind, same shape. I'm going to use that simple shape, kind of the kidney shape I told you about. This is a male torso, but all I'm doing is, that's the back, so real simple spinal cord. And then one leg coming up, and then this leg would be in front. You kind of get used to where lines go too. You can see this is coming out. Then we're going to make the muscle come back in. And I keep reiterating simple lines, because when you make simple lines it looks a lot better. But you can see I'm making this leg, then this arm will come back. And I have another little pose I did very quickly. If I wanted to, I could really work the... once you get the poses in, then you can play around with the anatomy, with the muscles. The buttocks muscles here, coming down, the muscles here. And then that's where you can flesh it out. I think it's more important to get poses done to learn how it moves, how it works, before you really worry about the muscles. Because, as artists, we want to keep anatomy right, especially when we're drawing superheroes, but we also want to keep a drawing interesting. We don't want it to look like those stiff, like you look at anatomy books and a lot of the drawings are stiff. They're just showing the muscles. They're stiff, they don't have action. Just a real simple pose. I'm actually going to raise this arm up. Make this stretch a little more. Make it in front of him like he's blocking his face. There's another real quick one we did. And last but not least, let's show you real quick, like to draw a female using the same method. Starting with the pelvic region. Crap, there's something under here. You have this form, then bring it up, and then I'm going to show you how easy it becomes once you start. Usually some people really do start with the torso and the whole area. I'll show you how easy it is. You have this, then legs. You can make this wider, you can exaggerate. I'm going to make the legs crisscross in here, like that, and then the other leg behind it. But you can see how much potential. For me, I know I keep saying it, but I just can't reiterate enough. For me, the simpler I draw, the more pleased I am with it. In other words, the simpler shapes I start with, like when I start with the torso, This have a really cool basic female form, something very simple, yet it's dynamic, it's interesting. The leg coming up, and then like where the muscles would be, and like I said before, don't worry about the muscles, but real simply, you know, female form, something really simple. And all I did was start with that. So I'll show you, I'll use that same shape and we'll do it in a dynamic pose. That should explain a little more. And then the shoulders drop off. Then see what you do. Now that you're building these real simple shapes, you can have the arms bend how you want. Like you could have this one behind. Say if I wanted to put it behind, I just make a little line like that, and you can see it's bending behind. Say if I wanted to bring it forward in front of the stomach, then the line would overlap. See how I'm making a little overlapping shape? Then I bring it in front and then draw the hand. So once you start getting familiar with it, you have so much potential. This is what's fun. I can make it out. If I want to draw it out, you know, the line would arch there, and it would come out. Then you know the hand would be here. And like I said before, don't worry about fingers, don't worry about the details, just worry about the forms. Then for the breast here, I want to make this one more finished so you can see how it works, and like nipples. And generally females, when it comes to drawing the breast, it is at like a 45-degree angle from here, and so you can kind of tell where they sit on. And then for this, then like you can see I have basic torso shape, the legs, I can finish up with the legs. I have a very pleasing to look at shape that you know was done in a few minutes. Nothing complex, but it's enough to give me that model I need, that basic form I need to learn from, to do. See, and then that, and then with this arm, same thing. You can make it foreshortened, you can make it come in there, like that, you can make it lower. So once again, you have a ton of choice. And then for the head, you can start maybe a line. Sometimes it helps me, like if I'm thinking of the back, a line would come up for the spine. And then you could draw a little circle on that. I'm trying to take my time with this one. Then from the circle, you know, I mean that's female, it's a softer face. You can see now what's going on more. Something like that. And the final drawing I'm going to do, this is a huge, huge lesson. Taking the same torso shape we did, you know, start with just almost a triangular shape. Let's say, trying to think. Let's say the rib cage is arched back, coming forward, a little foreshortened. You're looking above it. Basically, if you're looking above it, which these are very hard to do in my opinion, but this would be the top section, like that. And you can see I'm using the same shape on the top, this circular shape. You know, if there was a line here, this is like the middle line, it would be coming down. You'd see the rib cage. But then, being that it's foreshortened a little, you'd see the back part. So this would be like the buttocks foreshortened right in there, and kind of dip down, and it would look something like that. And you can make the arms coming up. Then maybe the head will be completely behind. So what I'm doing here is, you know, I'm just making the head, that would be the under the neck, and you know the eyes would be back there. Real dynamic pose. The breast would be about right there. And you know the arms are coming up, but do you see what's going on now? You can really see, oh my gosh, this is so fun! You can see what's going on. Then I just erased those little guidelines. But you know, like I said, I used the same basic simple shape, and look how dynamic of a pose I got. So don't overwork it. Don't add more lines than you need. It sounds simple in theory, but it's very hard because you kind of have to really learn and get used to it. But you can see, and then the head would maybe in shadow. But I did it real simple, real dynamic, and make one leg jutting out. Then make this leg. Same thing. Now the belly button probably be around here. Something like that. But real simple, but once again, dynamic shape. So that's about it, I'd say, for the lesson. Thank you for watching. I do apologize. I know I reiterate a lot, but it's only because I feel like it's very important. I reiterate because I feel like it's very important to kind of understand these things if you want to get better at drawing or doing superheroes. Let's do one more real quick one. I can't stop! I can't stop once I start drawing. Well, like say if you're drawing Superman flying sideways. Real simple, I'm using the same shape again. This would be the back, the pelvis. Now I'm just going to start with that shape. Coming up, then the front would be higher. There you go, you got that, remember the shape from before? So that's it, you got, this is what makes it awesome! This is what's cool. This is very tiny, by the way. But you know, like I said, a kidney shape, like a kidney bean, a kidney shape. Kidney shape's like that. It's got this shape to it. You can think of it like that. You can do however works. But like that, and then on this line, the spine would come up, so the head would be right there. So if this was Superman, that'd be his head in that area. Then the arm, you can just make, it would follow up here. Bicep. Not worry about the muscles, but just get an idea. You can see I'm drawing the hand in, the chest, and you can skinny it up a little. The same idea, and then the leg would jut off. So you have a real simple shape. As you can see, it really forms a superhero. Add the cape in. You have a real, very simple but dynamic pose once again. And the reason why poses are very important, why they help so much, is it makes you get, by doing poses you also get used to the proportions. You can see I got the legs about as half as the body length. So that's about it. There's those drawings. Real quick recap, the Spider-Man things, some different poses. And so thanks everyone, I appreciate it, and leave me feedback. Let me know if it helps, if it sucks. Thank you.